like the Capitals, the Blue Jackets have 68 points, the most in the NHL. If they were to play a best-of-7 series, like if the NHL decided, all right, the top two teams in the league will square off and play a best-of-7 during the All-Star break, which team would win?
Well, I think Washington. I think for all the reasons I just put out there, I think they're the deeper and better and more maybe tested team. I know they've not won anything, and their fans are probably saying, tested? What do you mean tested? At least they've been through some of this before. Last year, Columbus finished 27th in the league. I wouldn't say they overachieved. I think they're a very good team, but they've certainly had to ride the hottest goalie in the league in Sergei Bobrovsky to really win them some games and be that pillar.
But isn't that the key in a playoff series, DA?
Well, it is, but here's the thing. All right, Columbus had that 16-game winning streak. What happened when they played Washington? Washington beat them 5-0.
Oh, yeah, after winning 16 straight games, I mean, they're exhausted, right? I mean, there's a lot of pressure there. Now it's fresh, and you've got a coach that has won a Stanley Cup.
That's all true. I mean, granted, that was 13 years ago, but that's all true. Listen, you're asking me, Betty or Veronica. There's no wrong answer, chocolate or vanilla. I mean, I like it all. But my point being, if I have to choose one team, I'm going to take Barry Trotz, Braden Holtby, Alexander Ovechkin, Nick Backstrom over Columbus. Columbus is a great team. They're in a very tough division. And what happened? They had the 16-game win streak, and at the end of it, they had 3 teams within 5 points of them. That's how good the Metro is. I'm predicting Columbus is going to have a little bit of a second half slide, and I actually predict they're going to end up in the wild card. I think they're going to be passed by Pittsburgh. I think they're going to be passed by the Rangers, and I think they're going to be passed by Washington. I think they're actually end up 4th in that division, which is no shame because that's an incredible division. And I think they're going to have a wild card. So what does that mean? Then they've got to go through the likes of Washington, New York, and Pittsburgh to get to the Stanley Cup final. So I just don't think this is the year for Columbus, but I'm often wrong, as anyone who knows me will tell you.
So we may actually see a best-of-7 then.
Well, so we've said a lot of positive things about the Capitals, which I could do all day, but do they have a weakness? Is there anything, you're talking about the Blue Jackets potentially having a slide in the second half, anything that you could see from the Capitals that could be a negative for them?
Alexa, if you look at Stanley Cup champion teams, they always seem to have that pillar on defense. They always seem to have that number one, certifiable stud on D. I don't think we necessarily have that in Washington. John Carlson's very good. Matty Niskanen's very good. Trust me, any GM would want them on their team. Do you want them what could be a 2-month run as the number one guy leading the show? That's the question. Last year, the Penguins had Letang. The Kings had Doughty. Chicago has Keith. They even have Seabrook, who could be sort of a 1A. That is the one question mark. So it's going to be interesting to see if any moves are made before the trade deadline. But last year, again, I like their defense as a whole, and I love Holtby, and I love their system. So I'm not overly worried. But if there's one wrinkle on that team where you could say, there's some doubt, it might be having that lack of a number one bona fide blue.